Welcome to the IT Experience podcast. We're here to guide IT and global business services professionals in navigating experience management, focusing on how to optimize budgets and drive better business outcomes. Join us as we discuss the trends, tools, and strategies with top industry experts that are transforming the future of service delivery in large enterprises. This podcast is brought to you by HappySignals, the leading experience management platform for IT and global business services.
Hello and welcome again to the HappySignals IT Experience podcast. Today I'm joined by somebody who is not from IT, not directly at least. We have Alex with us, but I'll let him do his own introduction. So who are you, Alex? What do you do in life? And let's take it from there.
So hi everyone. So my name is Alexandre Vallette. As you can probably hear from my accent, I'm from France originally. But I live today in the US. I've been living in the US for the past 12 years, mainly in Boston for the first 8-9 years. And then I moved to Texas. I'm in Austin. So even if I'm not from IT, I'm in a very techy environment right now. I've been working around the publishing industry my entire career, the past 25 years, and mainly in operations. So I've managed big programs of conversion for big libraries, big publishers, in the past, big trade publishers, mainly for big customers like Apple or Amazon when they were launching the iPads and they wanted to have a lot of content on those platforms to be able to sell more. And then when I moved to the US, I was more into the usual services of publishing, copy editing, content creation, and with fit in the US with our customers and offshore India, China for the production itself. And today I'm the vice president of excellence operation efficiency, for an Indian company called MPS, still in the same area of content and publishing. And more specifically, at the moment, I'm managing the operations of a company called AJE.com, who is providing content services for non-English speaking researchers that want to publish their papers. And I've been very interested in AI from the get-go when it started in 2021 to 2022, let's say 2022. And I was extremely excited at first. Everything that I was seeing was it's insane. You're talking to a machine as if you were talking to someone. And even if there were hallucinations or things that were half correct or whatever, it was really, really impressive. And in the coming years, 2023, 2024, while I still think it's a very huge revolution, I also think that at the moment there is a huge amount of hype, one, and two, all this growth that have been exponential and very impressive, I think is, again, I'm not an expert, and some could say I'm really talking out of my area of expertise, but I really start to feel that this exponential growth, where each release was so much better than the one before, is now indeed starting to hit the asymptote. So the difference between GPT-1 and GPT-2 was huge, and 2 to 3 was huge, etc., etc. And I really have the feeling now that whatever the promise is, I think that the promises are more for the market than for reality. And the amount of money that you have to find and the amount of data that you have to scrap to go from 4 to 5 is huge. And I really think that, I don't know, in 6 months, a year, when we look back, some people will say, wow, so much money and so much data scrapped, legally or not, for such a small bump. But I also think that it's purely mathematical. You can just increase so much, it doesn't go, the intelligence of the system doesn't go to the infinite, whatever Sam Altman is saying or Elon Musk or whatever.
Yeah.
Just a little bit a long introduction from where I come from and what I think about the industry so far. Sorry if I took a little bit too much time.
No, it's perfect. And I mean, the reason why I came across your thinking and why you are on the podcast is that the hype, I think there is we all agree there is a lot of hype, but then yet there is this thing that we want to make it work at work. We want to find the benefits of AI to be able to become more productive, to make the teams more productive, and maybe just move to the next step when it comes to using digital tools at work. And when I was reading your post on LinkedIn, I really liked the fact that you were calling out the BS that people were saying. And I thought that you did it in a nice, slightly sort of confrontational French way, which was good. I mean, like just calling it for what it is. So,
and the thing that, like, sometimes I think I posted some a couple of months ago where when I was seeing, like, looking at the comments on my post, I was like, I feel a little bit disconnected sometimes from from the people that are following me, because, like, I'm critical. I am very critical because I think that if you really sit and look at what we have right now, it's absolutely not what all the gurus or whatever the experts of LinkedIn are saying. And so I start to speak like this on on LinkedIn, and like people are like that are like huge AI haters are like following me, and they're like, yeah, you're right, and so on. But the thing is that my thinking right now is there is a lot of hype and a lot of BS. I will talk to you about a small example after, but at the same time, I'm a firm believer. Like, I really, really think that it will bring us somewhere that is like brand new. I'm myself using it every day, like actually every day, and just to make my life easier. And do I trust that with my life? Absolutely not. I say that all the time. Like, the situation where we're right now is it gives you 80% of the time an answer that is 80% accurate. So it's not very bad compared to your colleagues sometimes that gives you 50% of the time something that is like 90% incorrect. But I'm joking, but like, but it's really helpful in a sense, but at the same time, you're about to send this report to the CEO of your company. Are you okay that it's 64% correct? Like, are you okay that 36% chance that you're sending like very wrong data and so on to your CEO? No, you're not. So that's why, like, the people that are saying, oh, everything can be automated, absolutely not. But the people that are like, oh, it's useless, it will crash, and tomorrow it will be history, I don't believe it either. Yeah, and you could say the same thing about the 2000s and internet. Like, the bubble was like huge, and everybody was like, oh, everything will be internet and so on, like in 2002 and whatever. And then it exploded, and then it took a lot of time. But look where we are, like 24 years later, it's there. We are talking through the internet. Everything is through the internet. My phone is more powerful than whatever computer I had in 2000. So that, I think, the same for AI. I wouldn't be surprised that there is like a bubble that like pops in 2025, 2026. And then when you and I, when we will be way older and we talk about that in 2035, we will be like, oh my God, AI is everywhere. It took some time, but it's everywhere. So that's really what I think.
And that's actually quite funny because this is wasn't planned to be included in the podcast, but about 3 or 4 months ago, I was flying and I was reading the last chapter of Ethan Mollick's co-intelligence book, and I was sitting next to a senior person from one of the big four bookkeeping companies. I don't remember if it was KPMG or PricewaterhouseCoopers. He was about to fly to the same destination where I was going to hold a speech about how they were going to use AI to renew their business. And I think that's one of the things that is so interesting when it comes to AI is that 80% right 80% of the time. Because then there's the question of, okay, so what do we do with it? How do we bring it into work And then what that would look like is different for small companies and big companies. And I know that one of the things that we had planned on talking as well is like, how can you sort of bring people along on this journey? And for example, if you are a smaller company, how do you scale that experimental learning throughout the organization? And you had some good ideas about that. So do you want to just like go a little bit into this point one on our list here, like lack of expertise and skills in using Gen AI like GPT?
And your experience with this guy from KPMG or wherever he was from is like, they can make that bet because like they have how many people in the company that can help them in IT, in product, in operations. And if they don't have that, they can hire $1 million a month of consultant to do it. But like if you're a small shop, you cannot do that. And one of the things that limits the smaller company to really dip their toes in the water is really the lack of expertise. And it's like, oh, why would we do that when we don't really know what it will, what we will use it for, what it can do, and so on. And it can backlash in a sense where the company will be like, imagine that you have a CEO or a VP of operation of a smaller company that's like, oh yeah, I want to do AI and so on. And he will kind of like push people to do it. And even if those people especially if those people have a lack of expertise, it will, I think, backfire because it will lead to poor results. Like the implementation will be bad because they will see 80% of the time, or instead of seeing 80% of the time, 80% correct, they will see, hey, 36% of the time it's incorrect. So let's stop it. And I think that before dipping your toes into AI, if you're a smaller company, I think it's very, very important to see that as an experimentation and not an off-the-shelf product, one. And two, prior to decide what you want to do and so on, it's very important that you use it almost like a game, like, oh, let's use it and see what it can do. AKA, you need to spare some time to do it, one, and you need to train yourself. Like, for example, something that is like pretty good at is if like the AI knows a format and you provide the information that is able to fill this format, the format plus the information plus your brains, the three of you should be able to produce the next report. You will ask the AI some question. The AI will ask you some question, and it will update the report. And then at the end of the day, you can review all of that and correct. And I think that playing along with AI and investing in like training session and sparing some time to use AI for fun at first is the step one. So you then think about your implementation, aware of what it can do and cannot do, and you're not frustrated, you and your team, by like, oh, the results are poor. If the results are what you were expecting based on your experimentation, it will be successful. If you were not prepared for that, if you've trusted whatever consultant that came and told you with like use cases that he has like trained the system exactly on for weeks and weeks so he can make his presentation, like you will be disappointed. But if you're experimenting, investing in understanding what's going on, then I think that's where you will get what you're expecting, and you can start like experimenting AI in your company.
I think that actually that sounds really, really good from an IT point of view, especially in the service management part, because so many of the processes have been formatted and they have been predefined in a certain way. So experienced managers and leaders, they will know what that sort of output, what should happen at the end of the process. So now what happens if you bring into one team that is maybe open to this kind of experimentation, you bring in AI, does the end result change for the better, for worse, and then go from there? And how do you see like then when it comes to like the, for example, like the budget that you should have for this? Can you Do you have any experience? What's a like point of view, or like how much does it cost to do this kind of experimentation and get started?
So that's bringing back your example with the discussion with this guy from KPMG. The guy has a budget that is sized to his company, and like if they want to implement AI on a sizable share of their business, they will invest, I don't know, 5 million, 6, 7, 8 million. For some smaller company, that's your entire revenue, not your investment, your entire revenue. So you cannot do that. You cannot do that at all. And so if you're a mid-sized to small-sized company, your budget will be limited. So to get the most out of it, you will need to experiment. Like I would strongly advise against we want to use AI to do this, and then because we want AI to do this, then we're hiring a consultant that of course will tell you that it's possible, and then you will embark everyone and you will spend this amount of money that makes sense in a sense. If a consultant comes and tells you, hey, it will take me 50 days, X days of training, blah, 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 and so on, it doesn't seem crazy. But the guy will bill you 50 days at 1,000 a day. It will bill you $50,000. So you're really expecting something out of $50,000. And if you go from zero to this consultant coming in your company to implement things, I'm telling you, you will spend $50,000. Everybody will be pissed with the result because it will be below your experimentation. What I would do if I were the CEO or the VP or the VP of operations of this smaller company is that rather than bringing anyone in, as I told you before, train yourself, invest a little bit money in training, understanding what is the GPT, what is the GPT-4, how can you use it. And honestly, it's more investing your time than investing your money. I've got a very good friend on LinkedIn called Sabrina Ramanoff, who sold her AI company in Boston like X years ago, retired at 35 or whatever. She's so lucky. But she has this mission that she wants to train people. She has tons of content, very, very good, very, very good, that brings you from zero to understanding what you can do. Go find people like that. So AKA, at first, the budget that you need to spend is not money. I think it's time. So find the right resources, get your training, and then build a small team that will be the experimentation team. And with this small team, then start a cycle of small innovation. Let's use the big words like small innovation. So this team will come from wherever, marketing, sales, operations, and they will have a goal that we want to use AI. And like rather than investing money, tell them that every week they have 5 hours each. There are 5 people. They have 5 hours each to experiment. And then this like pilot team should build like a small roadmap after experimenting a little bit and be like, okay, we will try to do that. And like in terms of money, this like it will be, it's like you're already paying the salaries. So it will be 25 hours a week for like whatever, 5 weeks, 2 months, 8 weeks. So you will spend 125 hours that are already in your P&L. So, and then those team will come with like probably small improvement, like that could be very like flashy in a sense, like very interesting. And the cost would be what? Zero, almost zero. But then you have a team that has demonstrated to the rest of the company that something can be done. And 2, they are becoming your evangelists because they are convinced. And if you have chosen this pilot team well enough, if you have picked someone from almost like every department, then it's your entire company that start to grow with this mindset of, hey, let's use AI, it works, and they will know that it's 80% of the time 80% correct. So they will set the expectation. They will not sell to the company like any consultant that everything can be replaced, you can save 50%. They will know what can be done, what cannot be done, and again, at a very small cost compared to what you would do with a larger company.
Why do you think that it's so important to invest time and not money? I mean, there's so many other technologies that companies buy, and they just buy it, they put it in, and they get results. But why? What makes AI so different from your point of view that it's the time investment and not the money investment that matters?
Because until now, again, I don't want to look like pompous or like, oh, Mr. Alex knows everything and so on. I don't. But what I think is that the paradigm of business with AI has changed. Before, you were buying a product where a team of 150 engineers have been worked on a roadmap. If they have done their job well, they have like the good use cases, the good user stories. They have developed the right product. They have the user testing have been done properly. So you know what you're buying. You're buying like $50,000 of services that you know the result of. AKA, if you're implementing that properly and you're training your time properly on this new product, you will get the result that has been sold 90% of the time. Here, you're buying something that is the product in itself. Like you are making the product at the same time that the product is interacting with you. And we know, like for a fact, we know that it's not 100% correct because it's very fluid. There are, like we all know about the hallucinations and how you need to ask the system a certain way so the system gives you back the right information. So all of that we know, but that's a very different product when you think about it. Before, you enter A plus B and you get C. With generative AI, you enter A plus B, and the AI, depending on the question that you will ask, can answer you a whole spectrum between A to Z. And if you want to get the right answer that was C, it needs to be prompted the right way. And perhaps you need to not rely only on the AI to do it, and so on and so on. So that's why I think it's what you're buying has changed dramatically, and that's why you need to be more careful with your money, because what you're buying is not necessarily before it's fine-tuned, it's not necessarily what you exactly want. And that's why I think like experimenting, because it's more like the interaction that will make the product, is more important than the money. I think you're on mute, Sakari.
Sorry, keeping it on mute to in case the kids would make any noise in the background. But so if we switch it around now from paying an external consultant coming in and telling the company what to do and setting everything up, if we now look at the scenario where the company chooses not to have anyone external, but just to invest that time. Now, there can be a lot of different barriers or resistance to this change. And before sort of diving into that topic, maybe do you see why some companies might feel that it is a waste of time of their own employees to be learning, like if they all would be learning AI tools or a big part of them? Do you see why a company would see that as a waste of time?
Yeah. So again, if you don't have this kind of roadmap, and I think the roadmap can be applied everywhere, and the roadmap is create a team of people that are interested. Like your investment in this team is very small. It can it can be like 5 people, 2 hours a week for the next 10 weeks. So it's not an investment. Like, people can scratch 2 hours of their time every week, no problem. So it's not a huge investment. But if you build this team properly, and this committee or whatever you want to call that does as a good has been given by the management the right direction, then they will produce something that is that can be applied to your company, because it's from the people from your company, and so on and so on. So meaning that when they're proposing something, it's probably fitting the needs of the company. And then you can start your experiment. And then after, some time of experiment, you have results that are coming from your company, that are well targeted from your company. You will know the pitfalls, the ins and outs, the what works and what doesn't work. So I don't think that any management will see the result presented by this committee as being a waste of time or a waste of money. Because at the end of the day, you will have a whole spectrum of like results. You will have committees that will be like, hey, we found those like three things. Two of them are working very well, and I think we can like bring that to the entire company. And here you're making a lot of saving, a lot of money. Or it can be that we experimented for 10 weeks, and the result is that there are no real areas of the company where it works very well, and the small areas where it works well, it's like very tiny compared to the investment. And so you will not waste your time because you have invested like 10 weeks, 20 hours. But at the end of the day, you have a result. So I don't think that experimenting will be a waste of money. Plus, with the high chances that they will bring some results, you have a core team that is super motivated and that will be able to spread the good word to the company. Because like you introduced the cultural barriers, I think that the cultural barriers are always high with any new tool. We all know about the change management and so on. But for something like AI, it's even worse because it can really look scary from some point of view for the right reasons, I think.
Yeah. And so if we think about then the cultural barriers a little bit, like you mentioned, scary. So, I mean, I think I'm a knowledge worker and I don't have the same capability as AI to memorize things and analyze things. But at the same time, because I have been experimented with it, and I tend to think the same way as what Ethan Mollick was talking about, like, experiment is with this like technology and being able to use it effectively. I mean, it is sort of a guarantee to keep your job in the future. But how would you go about getting people that are scared, that know that in other places, in other companies, similar jobs have been replaced by AI? What would be your approach to convince them to experiment with it with an open mind?
So I would first tell you something that I would love to have coined that, but it's not from me. But there is this scare that this fear, sorry, that my job will be replaced by AI. And in 15 years or 10 years or 5 years, perhaps, I don't know. Yes, perhaps it's true. Your job, my job, perhaps we will be replaced by AI, but that's cool because we'll probably just enjoy life and that's it. But like right now, I don't think that your job will be replaced by AI. And if it's replaced by AI, it would have been replaced by offshore or whatever anyways. But like right now, I think that your job will not be replaced by AI, but will be replaced by someone that knows AI better or a company that knows AI better. So the resistance is human. It's just like the way we are. We are scared by the things that like are new. But here it's even more scary because for the first time, I think in history, you have a machine that really looks like a colleague, and a colleague that has way more knowledge than you, way more memory than you, and is able to process millions of times faster than you. So it can look very scary. But I think, and especially for smaller company, they are usually relying on people that have like a very large palette. Like they are able to do many things. Like when you're in operations, you're doing a little bit of sales, you're doing a little bit of like products. So I think that's a strength, and you will always have an advantage to the AI. Say it's that your company, you know your customers. What the AI will always bring you is the average answer. Like you're asking a question about a product, your product, it will give you an answer that is the average of all the products that look remotely like yours on everything that has been written on the internet for the past X years. It will give you, so you have an advantage compared to that. You know your product better than like your product is not the average, it's your product. So I really think that it's real in companies, small or big. People will be scared because it's new and it's very powerful. And I think it's very important to think about that before you do anything, because the best way to if you take everything that we've said since the beginning, the best way to say we will implement AI in our company and make that the worst failure ever is you don't consult anyone. The CEO or the executive management decides. They don't consult anyone in the company. They're bringing this guy from whatever consulting firm, small or big, that comes and tells you how the world is shifting because of AI and so on. Everybody's against it. No one will help. No one will try to find anything that can help this new project. And the CEO 6 months down the road will be pissed because they will be like, "Are you joking? We spent $50,000 for that for like nothing." When you think about it and you do a little bit more the nimble way that I proposed, you build this small committee. They are getting trained. They're training themselves. Then they know. Then they start to experiment across the company. And then the last thing is you need to involve the people in the company. It cannot come from outside when you're a small company. It needs to come from inside. And so if you're involving the people in the company, and you're so first people will see that coming from the inside, so less threatening for sure. And also, I think it's very important that you are positioning AI to be a support rather than a replacement. And it's not hard to present that as a support more than a replacement, because today I really think that it's more a support than a replacement. I told you that I'm using AI every day and like multiple times a day. It's not replacing anything that I'm doing. Honestly, I would never ever take the result that I'm given and copy paste that wherever in an email or whatever. It's a very like I give the AI a big draft with my ideas. It transformed that like pretty well, but it still needs to have like a layer of polishing from myself. So it's really a support. And as long as you're involving your employees, you're presenting that like as a really a supporting tool that will lower the resistance of lower the problems and handle like repetitive tasks, or allowing people to not do that and focus on the things that are really high value. I think you can start implementing AI with far less resistance. And you know, I'm talking a lot, but what I'm talking about is no more than everything that you will find in a management book for change management.
Yeah.
But again, with AI, I feel it's more threatening because it looks, at least from the outside, so powerful.
Yeah. So in a way, like if we would now wrap up like these three different themes that we've been talking about. So first of all, consider it experiments. Don't consider it as a ready product being shipped to the market. Second thing, invest time, not money, so that people from inside the company can learn what the tool can do for your specific context. And then the third one, consider it a tool, not as a replacement, because it's still going to be like the combination of the person using the tool and the AI capabilities that will be the winning combination.
Exactly. And you see, you as a human, you're rephrasing that with a nice tone, like a nice voice and so on. And I'm sure that an AI could have like wrapped up and summarized our conversation. But what you would have read from the AI would have been so cookie cutter and being like full of words, like big pompous like words and so on. I think it's a very good example. You see, where right now an AI will not replace a human. You could say, hey, you know what? I will ask the AI to wrap up and summarize what Alex has said, and I doubt that you would be happy with the result. When
Very true.
when your summary
Yeah.
was great, agreeable, and to the point.
Yeah, no, that is true. I mean, it's And then especially when it comes to communication, going into like how much of the communication is nonverbal and everything else, and how, I mean, we can read between the lines, we can read the sincerity and everything else. And that's one thing that at the moment, at least like AI solutions don't have. I mean, they're not sincere. They're able to fake sincerity. But anyways, that's where maybe people can be good too, knowing when to stop. So I will stop right there, stop on a high note, and say also thank you, Alex, for joining the podcast. And for anyone who's listening, I highly recommend following this slightly controversial, sometimes a little bit angry, but always insightful Alex Vallette on LinkedIn.
Sorry, I'm French. I cannot.
It's the way that it should be. I love the French way of seeking consensus through confrontation. All right. Thank you, Alex, for coming.
So much, Sakari. It was a really nice conversation.
If you liked this episode, please give us thumbs up, rating, or share it with your colleagues to help others learn about this topic as well. To learn more, go to HappySignals.com.